Hello everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a story that kind of, even though it's a bit gruesome, represents the fortitude of people that were coming up to either settle or trap or gold mine or do whatever in the North Country. And this is a story about two trappers. Their names were Buck Chatman, his real name was Jack, and George McMillan. And they decided in 1887 that they were going to go out and trap around the Pembina River and make a winter of it. So they left Edmonton, went to the Pembina River, and their whole idea was they were going to set up two camps. The first camp was, well, both of them were probably very similar to this, this is not their camp. And the idea was to have two because they could both stay at a camp, both have a trap line catching twice the animals, meet in the middle every day and kind of compare notes. So they get to the first camp, they leave half their provisions there and set off downstream to set up their second camp. Well, when they come back, the first camp is burnt to the ground. Everything's gone. So they've lost half their food supply. And the question for them then was, can we tough it out or can't we? And they decided they were going to give it a whirl. So everything's ticking along pretty good until about February. They've caught at least 30 fisher plus other fur-bearing animals. But in February, mid-February, they run out of food. Things take a drastic turn for the worse because suddenly their food supply is the carcasses of the animals that they have trapped. So they begin eating them, and both men got sick. McMillan got sick first, and he came out of it pretty quick. But when Chatman got sick, he was really sick, and whatever he had paralyzed him from the waist down, so he's basically reliant on McMillan. So they managed 2 months until the middle of April, subsisting on whatever, and two good things happened in the same day. The first is that McMillan shot a chicken or a partridge, so they had a good nourishing soup for supper. And the second thing is that the ice of the Pembina went out. So Chatman is feeling pretty good about things. There's finally an end in sight for him and his ordeal. Actually, both their ordeals, but in particular Chatman. But I think that came much sooner than he thought it would, because a few hours after eating this lovely dinner of soup, he goes to sleep and he passes away. He never wakes up. So now McMillan is weak, but he takes an axe and he chops a hole in the frozen ground to bury Chatman as best he can, and then puts poles and logs and other things on it because he can't go too deep. The next day, he gets in his canoe and heads downstream, and then the Pembina goes into the Athabasca River, so it's not that long. He's at Athabasca Landing. The ducks have arrived for the spring, so he's found enough to eat. And he reports Chatman's death to Leslie Wood, the Hudson's Bay Company factor, and he reports that he buried him where the 5th meridian crosses the Pembina the second time. And then he goes on to say, yeah, I think once I get my strength back, I'm heading to Great Slave Lake to go do some hunting and trapping there. Like me, I'd be heading back to civilization. Give it a rest, boy. So I think that really speaks to the fortitude, if that is the correct word, of the people that were coming north to make a new way of life for themselves. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to subscribe to Sheila's Shenanigans on YouTube, and you can also go to ingon.ca, get your Ingon in Alberta, to find out more of what I do. That's ingon.ca, and of course, it'll be in the credits. Have a great day.